You review this week's NFL fines, and yes, if you're a critic of the NFL, you have every right to wonder if Roger Goodell and company are taking any of this very seriously. Mike Fisher, reporting from Frisco, home of the Dallas Cowboys. On a very serious note, there is the sexually related misbehavior in the Washington football team front office. The allegations that under the owner, Dan Snyder, this has been going on forever. And the fine is $10 million. And maybe more harsh, Dan Snyder has to step away from the day-to-day operations of the football team, or at least that's what he says he's going to do, as his wife Tanya is in charge. As I said to you guys last night, if the husband and wife relationship is solid, they don't talk. She doesn't come home at the end of the day and say, boy, honey, here's what happened today. Or even get on the phone and say, hey, we're facing an issue here. I know that you're not supposed to be involved officially, but I'd like to run this by you. I can't imagine that the Snyders still don't run it that way. But $10 million fine for a guy that, without having looked it up, I'm sure is worth $3 billion. So the $10 million fine, I don't know how impactful it is. Now we turn to Dallas. And the Cowboys, along with the Niners and the Jaguars, were guilty of some sort of misbehavior. Luckily, nothing on that level as it relates to OTA's minicamp workout. I don't know what the violation was specifically. Usually in these cases, it's there was a little tackling practice that there wasn't supposed to be, or somebody went a little overtime when you're not supposed to do it, according to the CBA. And again, this is for the players' protection. It's written into the CBA that there are limits on what a team can do with its players. Not all the players like the limits, but the limits are in there per their own players' association for their own protection, and they must be observed, unless the Cowboys, Jaguars, and Niners want to push the envelope a little bit. The fines, though, relatively speaking, are not substantial. In the Cowboys case, they get a $100,000 fine for whatever the violation was. $100,000 to the Dallas Cowboys. Again, Mr. Jones worth between $5 and $8 billion. Mike McCarthy, who we're going to guesstimate makes about $5 million a year, gets. I'm watching because I'm thinking this guy's going to hit me because he doesn't appear to be a very good driver. No offense, sir. I hope you're a follower and listener to what we do and never know that I'm talking about you. $50,000 fine for Coach McCarthy to have overseen this infraction. Makes $5 million. Now, $50 million is a chunk of change, but does it deter anybody? If you get an advantage, and I don't frankly know what the advantage would be, by secretly doing some tackling drills in OTAs when you're not supposed to. If you do that, then the purpose for doing it must be to get an advantage, right? Otherwise, why bother? And if you get an advantage, then having your team and the coach be fined a total of $150,000 is well worth it. I'll do it every time. It's kind of like the Patriots cheating. Again, without having all the penalties and all the accusations in front of me. Oh, we're gonna spy on the other team, and you're gonna fine us $1 million. So what? Winning a game is worth more than $1 million. So the NFL doesn't seem to take many of these violations very seriously. The ultimate thing won't be whether or not the Cowboys, Jaguars, and Niners change their practice habits. They won't. Maybe the bigger thing is whether or not Tanya Snyder, as a woman in charge, she's the CEO of the Washington football team right now, which, by the way, under Mr. and Mrs. Snyder, in recent years with the leadership of Ron Rivera, has become as progressive an organization, not only as there is in football, maybe in sports. And progressive change here, more change for the better, more honesty, more openness, more safety in the workplace. Even more important than safety on the OTA practice field, because a couple guys bumped heads when they shouldn't have. Fish.